You're listening to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, created to help you succeed in your Security Plus certification journey. Learn more at baremetalcyber.com, where additional prepcasts, books, and training materials await. Let's get started. Application security focuses on protecting not just the software code itself, but also the flow of data and the behavior of applications at runtime. In modern environments, applications are the front doors through which users interact with sensitive systems, meaning any weakness in design or coding can become an immediate avenue for exploitation. Attackers target applications because they often represent the closest interface to valuable data. Application security, therefore, requires an end-to-end view that encompasses coding practices, configuration decisions, and protections applied while the application is running in production. It is both a design philosophy and an operational practice. Secure by Design principles establish the foundation for safer applications. Input validation ensures that data received from users or other systems is checked and sanitized before it is processed, preventing attacks like SQL injection or cross-site scripting. Output encoding further prevents malicious data from being misinterpreted by browsers or downstream systems. Least privilege means that applications run with only the permissions absolutely required, reducing the impact if an attacker gains access. Together, these principles shift security left in the design process, embedding protections into the application's core logic rather than bolting them on later. Threat modeling is an essential early activity in the development lifecycle. By analyzing the application's architecture, developers and security teams can anticipate potential attack vectors, prioritize risks, and design appropriate defenses before coding even begins. Threat modeling is like planning a building's fire exits during the blueprint stage rather than after construction. Identifying how attackers might misuse or exploit a system allows developers to apply controls proactively. Without threat modeling, defenses often emerge only after incidents, forcing organizations into a reactive posture. Early analysis ensures controls are not only present but also aligned with actual risks. The Secure Development Lifecycle, or SDLC, formalizes these practices into structured stages. From requirements gathering through design, implementation, testing, and deployment, security checkpoints, often called gates, are built in. These gates verify that key security practices have been followed before moving to the next stage. For example, code cannot be promoted without passing vulnerability scans, and deployments require signed artifacts. The SDLC transforms application security into a repeatable process, ensuring that protections are applied consistently rather than relying on the awareness of individual developers. It provides both accountability and assurance at every step of software creation. Separation of concerns and modular design contribute to security by limiting the blast radius of a compromise. When different components of an application handle distinct responsibilities and are isolated from one another, a flaw in one area does not automatically expose the entire system. For example, a payment module may be isolated from an analytics module, preventing attackers from moving laterally if one piece is compromised. Modular design also simplifies patching and updates, since changes can be applied to one part without risking unintended consequences in another. This structural discipline supports both resilience and maintainability. Secure default configurations and feature toggles further reduce exposure. Applications should ship with the most restrictive settings by default, requiring explicit action to enable less secure options. For example, detailed debug logs should be disabled unless specifically required in controlled environments. Feature toggles allow organizations to quickly disable high-risk functionality if vulnerabilities are discovered, limiting exposure without requiring immediate full redeployments. These approaches recognize that real-world conditions shift, and that applications need flexible ways to adapt. Hardening is not only about writing secure code but also about controlling how features are deployed and managed. Dependency management has become a central concern in application security. Modern applications rely heavily on third-party libraries and frameworks, but each dependency is a potential risk. Unpatched vulnerabilities in a library can compromise the entire application. Vetting dependencies before adoption ensures that they come from trusted sources and are maintained actively. Regular scanning for known vulnerabilities further strengthens protection, allowing teams to update or replace risky components quickly. Hardening here means recognizing that applications are rarely built entirely in-house. Security depends on vigilance across the entire supply chain of borrowed code. Secrets management addresses the frequent problem of hard-coded credentials. Too often, developers embed API keys, database passwords, or encryption secrets directly into source code or configuration files. If repositories are leaked or code is shared, these secrets provide attackers with immediate access. Proper secrets management involves storing sensitive values in secure vaults or dedicated services and retrieving them dynamically at runtime. This ensures secrets can be rotated without code changes and remain hidden from unauthorized eyes. Hardening applications requires treating credentials with the same care as encryption keys, never allowing them to become static or exposed. Logging provides critical visibility but must be implemented securely. Applications should record meaningful events such as authentication attempts, access to sensitive functions, and error conditions. However, they must avoid logging sensitive data like passwords, credit card numbers, or personally identifiable information. Improper logging can inadvertently leak data that attackers then use to escalate their attacks. Secure log design balances visibility with discretion, ensuring defenders have the information they need without creating new risks. In this way, logging becomes a hardened feature, supporting both detection and compliance without undermining confidentiality. Testing is the proving ground for application security. Static Application Security Testing (SAST) analyzes source code for vulnerabilities before execution. Dynamic Testing (DAST) examines running applications for exploitable flaws. Dependency scanning identifies known risks in third-party libraries, while interactive application testing combines multiple approaches to catch subtle issues. Each type of testing addresses different angles, and together they create a layered assurance strategy. Relying on just one form of testing leaves blind spots. Hardening means adopting a comprehensive suite of testing practices that evolve alongside the application, ensuring continuous coverage against emerging threats. Runtime protections complete the picture by defending applications while they are actively in use. Web application firewalls inspect traffic for malicious patterns, blocking attacks like SQL injection before they reach the code. Runtime application self-protection, or RASP, goes further by embedding monitoring directly into the application itself, allowing it to detect and respond to suspicious behavior in real time. These tools recognize that no code is perfect and provide a safety net when vulnerabilities are missed. Hardening embraces runtime defenses as companions to secure development, ensuring security persists beyond the build stage into production. Application security is best understood as a continuum that combines secure coding with continuous testing and runtime controls. It is not enough to write clean code or to deploy strong firewalls. Both must work together in an ongoing cycle. Applications evolve constantly, and so do threats. Security that is baked into the design, verified through structured testing, and reinforced by runtime defenses ensures that risks are managed comprehensively. Hardening is not a single step but a discipline, turning applications into resilient, trustworthy tools that can withstand the pressures of today's hostile digital landscape. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Input validation remains one of the most effective defenses against application layer attacks. A secure pattern is to validate data based on what is explicitly allowed, known as whitelisting, rather than trying to block only known bad inputs. For example, a field expecting a U.S. zip code should only accept 5 numeric characters, not arbitrary strings. This reduces the risk of injection attacks, where malicious code is smuggled into data fields. Hardening applications requires a default mindset of skepticism, Treat all external input as untrusted until proven otherwise. Validation that is precise, consistent, and centralized dramatically reduces exploitable weaknesses. Session handling is another area where missteps can lead to major compromises. Secure cookies should be flagged with attributes like HTTP only and secure, ensuring they cannot be accessed by scripts or transmitted without encryption. Token lifetimes should be carefully balanced, short enough to minimize exposure if stolen but long enough to avoid frustrating users. Revocation mechanisms must exist to immediately end compromised sessions. Attackers often rely on weak session handling to impersonate users or persist in systems longer than they should. Hardened applications treat sessions as living objects that must be protected, monitored, and expired appropriately. Application programming interfaces, or APIs, now serve as the backbone for many mobile and web apps, making their security paramount. At a minimum, APIs must enforce strong authentication, rate limiting to prevent abuse, and schema validation to ensure data follows expected formats. Without these protections, attackers can flood endpoints with requests, manipulate data, or bypass application logic entirely. Hardening APIs means treating them as primary attack surfaces, not hidden back-end components. Every request must be verified, constrained, and validated. Secure APIs support not only functionality, but also resilience against automated exploitation. Dependency patching processes must also be deliberate and disciplined. Applications rely on frameworks and third-party libraries that frequently release updates to address vulnerabilities. Vulnerability triage ensures that teams prioritize which updates matter most, applying critical patches immediately while scheduling less urgent ones. Ignoring dependencies leads to zombie vulnerabilities, where known flaws linger for months or years simply because they are buried deep in code. Hardening requires automated scanning tied to structured patch management, ensuring that inherited risks are reduced in the same systematic way as first-party code flaws. Continuous integration and continuous deployment pipelines can embed security checks directly into the development workflow. By integrating static scans, dependency analysis, and security gates into CI/CD, organizations prevent vulnerable builds from being promoted. This automation transforms security from a separate process into a natural part of delivery. Instead of catching issues after deployment, pipelines stop them before they reach production. Hardened environments treat CI/CD as both a delivery mechanism and a security safeguard, ensuring the speed of modern development does not undermine the stability and trustworthiness of the applications released. Error handling often seems like a minor concern, but insecure approaches can reveal sensitive details. Exposing stack traces, database queries, or system messages in error responses provides attackers with a roadmap to exploitation. Secure error handling limits feedback to generic user-friendly messages while recording detailed diagnostics in protected logs for administrators. This dual approach gives defenders the visibility they need while denying attackers the clues they seek. Hardening applications requires remembering that even small leaks of technical information can dramatically reduce the difficulty of an attack. Secrets rotation and vault integration provide further safeguards in modern development pipelines. Hard-coded secrets are a clear risk, but even stored secrets must be rotated regularly to prevent long-term exposure. Vault solutions allow CI/CD pipelines to retrieve credentials dynamically, inject them securely into build or runtime environments, and replace them seamlessly when rotated. This ensures that no developer needs to handle secrets directly and that expired credentials cannot be reused by attackers. Hardened applications treat secret management as an automated, policy-driven process, woven into the very fabric of software delivery. Telemetry and application-level alerting support ongoing monitoring of runtime behavior. Collecting metrics such as unusual login attempts, abnormal API usage, or spikes in failed requests provides defenders with early warning signs. Alerts tied to these signals allow rapid response, stopping issues before they escalate. However, telemetry must be designed with privacy in mind, avoiding the unnecessary collection of sensitive user data. Hardened applications turn telemetry into a feedback loop, providing developers and operators with visibility while ensuring that data stewardship remains a priority. Monitoring without privacy discipline can become a liability rather than a safeguard. Threat modeling is not a one-time exercise performed at the beginning of development. It must be refreshed as applications evolve. New features often introduce new attack surfaces, changing the risk landscape. Regularly revisiting threat models ensures that controls remain aligned with current realities. This iterative process prevents outdated assumptions from leaving gaps. Hardened applications view threat modeling as a continuous discipline, revisiting questions such as what could go wrong every time the system changes. By doing so, applications remain resilient against not only yesterday's threats, but also tomorrow's possibilities. Routine code reviews and pair programming practices add human insight to the security process. Automated tools can catch many flaws, but human reviewers often notice subtle logic errors or misuse of security features. Pair programming, where two developers work together, encourages real-time feedback and knowledge sharing. These practices also foster a culture where security is viewed as a shared responsibility rather than an afterthought. Hardening requires blending automation with human judgment, ensuring that applications benefit from both the speed of tools and the critical thinking of experienced developers. Penetration testing provides the final layer of assurance. Skilled testers attempt to exploit applications the way real attackers would, probing for weaknesses that automated scans might miss. For high-risk applications, penetration tests should be performed regularly, with scope tailored to critical features and data flows. Findings from these tests provide actionable insights that strengthen defenses. Hardened applications rely not only on theoretical protections but also on practical validation, ensuring that real-world attackers encounter walls rather than weaknesses. Penetration testing transforms security from assumptions into demonstrated resilience. Application security, at its core, is an engineering discipline embedded throughout the delivery lifecycle. It is not a single checkpoint, but an ongoing practice that spans design, coding, testing, deployment, and runtime defense. Every stage has its role: validation in design, controls in code, scanning in pipelines, monitoring in production. Together, these practices form a chain that is only as strong as its weakest link. Hardened applications reflect the discipline of teams that understand security as integral to engineering, delivering not only functionality but also reliability, trust, and resilience in the face of evolving threats. Thanks for tuning in to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, your trusted source for cybersecurity news and insights. Remember to subscribe at baremetalcyber.com so you never miss an update. And visit cyberauthor.me for best-selling cybersecurity books that equip you with expert knowledge. Until next time, stay secure and stay vigilant.